Toy Story 5 is the return of hanging out with the old toy gang. This time around, though, we follow Jessie, who has basically been put in charge of Bonnie. Everything's going just fine until Bonnie gets a hold of her first tablet. From here, Jessie will call up her old friend Woody because this tablet, named Lilypad, could be a dangerous thing for Bonnie. And that's all. Bernie said any spoilers to you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. We will talk spoilers when the movie is out, but until then, yo, a Toy Story movie. I freaking love this franchise, dude. I know there's wildly different opinions all over the place with this franchise. Most popular being is should have ended it at 3. That was a perfect trilogy. While I do probably agree with that sentiment, I am happy we got Toy Story 4. I do agree maybe that is the weakest movie of the franchise, but I think that movie is so severely overhated, and I got my reasons why I think it might be a hidden gem, and in the future, might end up being some people's favorite movie, but I'll talk about that more in my review where I review all the movies. Stay tuned for that. But, you know, I'm just kind of greedy. If there's a franchise I like with characters I've basically grown with, I want to keep growing with them. I want endless Toy Story movies, as long as they're good, right? And it really has been the case for me. I mean, the first movie came out the year I was born. 1995. Yeah, I know, I sound like a dinosaur. And I think if you also were kind of in that age range growing up with the movies, they hit you even more specially. All these kids right now that are like 10, 9, growing up with Toy Story, LARPers. No, I was there when it came out. I was there when Andy went to college and I was going to college. But even with my giant attachment to the series, yes, I am always worried the next movie is finally going to be that one that I just so hate, that taints the entire series for me. And going into Toy Story 5, I felt like they had a brilliant premise, as kids today don't really play with toys. They have tablets, they have technology. Tackling a story with that, great idea, but I'm also like, it's probably going to be the most cliche grandpa, toys good, tech bad. But this is Pixar after all, they're better than that. So went in, bought my ticket, wanted to just have fun seeing these characters all back again, and to me, still a goated franchise with not a single bad movie in the series. That's all I needed, man. Okay, we could talk and argue about where it ranks and how good or bad it is comparatively to all the other ones, but I am standing by it. Toy Story 5 is a winner, and it is a great installment in the series, and I think it does a lot of stuff right. Not perfect, has its issues, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Let me get into the things I really loved about this movie. For one, they didn't handle the toys versus tech plot in the most cliche fashion. It is actually a lot more complex and nuanced than I was expecting. I think it was so easy for them to just go into the movie and tell a story where, hey, toys are the real thing that you need, and these tablets, throw them away. And look, I'd love to live in that fairy tale land of unicorns, butterflies, and dog poop tasting like marshmallow, but it's not where we are. Technology is unfortunately here to stay, and whether you're going to be that parent that says, not giving my kid a tablet, more than not, we are unfortunately headed down that route. And the movie is well aware of that, and I think the route it takes with the technology, mixing in with the toys, I thought was kind of the best way you go about it. Lilypad here is a good antagonist, and they still bring up a lot of things with technology and how it's affecting the youth today and putting it forward in some ways I didn't really even think about. It's not just, oh, having a tablet and being zombified into it. The movie does show to you what does that also mean socially? How do kids interact with each other? Because it's not just you hanging out and playing anymore. There's a social system and a structure to it. There are moments and bits of dialogue in the way the toys or even other characters in this movie describe what tech does to a kid that I was like, dude, bang on the money. Never even pictured it that way, but you're right. But also we see kind of like the lifespan of tech through this movie. There's these set of toys, which were the new kind of characters you get in this film. One of them notably played by Conan O'Brien. Super happy to have him, especially since he's playing a potty training device. But like, because Toy Story is this franchise now that kind of points a mirror at society and reflects on what kids today are like, or trying to hit those big crucial moments as a kid is growing up, like when they need to go off to college and say goodbye to their toys. This iPad storyline honestly could have been done in Toy Story 4. I mean, that's how long and relevant it's been, kids getting technology and it affecting them. But what I'm getting at here with these other tech toys involving Conan O'Brien, it's like this subgenre of tech. Whether it was like your Game Boy, your Tamagotchi, heck, maybe even that iDog that would play music or whatever. This movie didn't just have commentary for the latest, greatest iPad devices like a LilyPad. It had commentary for those little devices you played with along the way, graduating to that and the effects that had on them. And I thought that was also a fascinating angle into the movie. Specifically with Conan O'Brien, he was a very funny character, and I'm thinking he's fully responsible for this being the first PG Toy Story movie, because all of them have been rated G except this one. And I wouldn't really say there's anything like too crazy or graphic that warrants the PG, but because he's a toilet device, a lot of potty humor, a lot of poop and pee jokes, and I guess maybe that bumped up the grade. But I really found Conan O'Brien to be funny. Aside from the newer characters being enjoyable, I still like how this franchise is continuing to be bold and different. Like, I know people have strong opinions about the ending of Toy Story 4, either love it or hate it. In the end, I think that was a bold decision. And for this movie's bold decision, that is not a spoiler because they make it clear in all the trailers, Jesse is the main character of this story. And boy, is that true, and it sets us up for a very different perspective for this Toy Story installment, because it really was the first time Woody was not our main character. Woody in this very much is a supporting character. Think of like the way Buzz has been a supporting character in almost every installment. That is Woody's role in this, along with Buzz. And that's for sure gonna rub some people the wrong way or make it feel, not as good. I know Woody's my favorite character, but to me, the story and the things they did was so strong with Jessie and her relationship with Bonnie, the struggle she's facing and trying to help Bonnie in this tough time. It's a bold choice that I think worked out and panned out, because there was some strong emotional stuff that goes on with both Bonnie and Jessie, because a lot of us wondering, ever since the ball of tears that came out since like Toy Story 3, the question has been with every Toy Story movie, did you cry? Did it make you cry? You little wuss baby boy, I'm gonna cry too hard, oh my god. This movie had multiple moments that had me in tears, that had me and they were just emotional high points in the movie that felt like those Pixar magic moments that feel almost rare nowadays. Because I think you still get a Pixar moment, but it just doesn't hit as hard as some of the early works. This, to me, hit pretty hard. And heck, I guess jumping off that point, I mentioned, it's not just Jessie who's the main character. There's a bigger focus on Bonnie. And I feel like maybe that was one of the mistakes with Toy Story 4. While Bonnie is still a prominent character in that, I felt like that movie failed in making you like the new Andy, making you like the new owners of this toys. In fact, I get comments to this day saying, I hate Bonnie. I'm like, dang, this is a child. Leave her alone. But in a sense, I get it, because the movies didn't do much of an effort to make her a character. I feel in this one, she's a lot more relatable. They put a lot more effort into getting you into the mind of Bonnie. And then you have to with her getting brain rot from LilyPad. And that's going to be a crucial point. I do wonder the people who go into this hating Bonnie but just wanting to see a Toy Story movie because they love these characters. Will this movie change their minds on them? Because I feel like it will for some, and it'll make them go, okay, now I like Bonnie. Now I get Bonnie. And so these are kind of the things that made me walk away just truly happy. I felt like the story and messaging in it was really on point. I love the emotional beats that this movie actually managed to hit and get me emotional. We're still switching things up, and I don't feel a sense of this franchise getting stale at all. I am hungry for another installment when like 10 years, and who knows what the commentary will be then. But 5 let me know, hey, there's still a lot of juice in this train, and I'm glad we made it into this installment. Now, with that said, I do think there are a couple elements in the movie that'll leave some people walking out going, it was okay. I mean, yeah, it was good, but it's fine. That's not really how I feel like. To me, I'm on a high with this movie, and I think it actually did its job, and it feels as worthy of a sequel as 2 or 3, in the sense that I don't feel like there's anything too controversial or so revolting about it the way like Toy Story 4 was a controversial ending for people and it divided some. I don't see that happening. I see most people walking out just happy with this, and instead it'll be more about whether you loved it or just liked it. And some of the things with that is, like I mentioned, Woody is not our main character of this, and while he still gets plenty of screen time, gets something to do other than showing off his bald spot and beer belly. Is that where I am? I went to college in 3 and now in 5 I'm balding. Hey, you guys check, let me know. To me, like I said, it still works in making the franchise take bold and new directions. Like, another aspect I liked is like when we'd see Bonnie's play vision that was like made of these watercolors. I think that's fun and shows that there's still cool things to do in this franchise. You know, 5 movies in, you were so used to the cowboy being your protagonist and leading the story. I can see how it might alienate some. I will admit also, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Defective Buzz storyline. Not to say I hated it, and it does have a nice payoff in the end where I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But in the first act of this movie is very jumbled because it's setting up all these different storylines that will eventually, you know, all connect towards the end. But in setting all that up, it just feels all over the place. It feels scattered. It feels like the messiest Toy Story movie in terms of writing. And to me, a lot of that messiness was when every time we had to cut away to the Defective Buzz storyline, which is just, again, so funny that like 4 or 5 times in this franchise, we have to have a version of Buzz Lightyear that is just dumbed down, believes he's an astronaut and is looking for Star Command. I'm like, how 5 movies in we have to do that every film with Buzz? I think with the tech stuff in play, I think there also will lend some people thinking too hard on some of the logic the movie uses. Even I myself had to stretch my suspension of disbelief because of some of the techie stuff they were doing where I'm like, I don't think it would work that way. I don't think that's how hotspots or Wi-Fi works, but okay, sure. It's a bunch of little things that add up and make you go, man, this plot is pretty convenient. Probably another one that makes me sad, especially since I rewatched a lot of the movies in preparation for this one, is, man, I just miss a lot of the old toys. I get that a lot of the voice actors are now much older, and you can hear it sometimes in their voice. Heck, they've even had to replace a couple of the classic toys. But man, you really just don't spend time with a lot of the toys you grew up with. It's one thing to already switch the main characters and put Jessie front and center and give Woody a back seat, but, you know, Rex, Ham, Slinky, all these, and even the little green alien guys. If you're gonna have one running joke every movie, don't let it be Dumb Buzz. I want it to be, I have been chosen. That's what I will be okay with. And them green aliens didn't do anything in this. And I think that's the thing that sucks. You really feel how much the cast has grown, you know, bringing in Bonnie's old toys, Andy's toys, adding in some new friends, other random toys we meet along the way. It's like, the cast is so big, you know, I'm about to say it. We gotta kill some of these toys. Okay, obviously not. But, you know, you do miss spending time with some of those older toys. And like I said, I've grown with this franchise. And whether these movies end up getting worse or bad, part of me feels like I gotta stick along for the ride as long as they keep making them. Because I love Woody. I love Buzz. I want to see what adventures they go on and where their lives lead them to. So it is kind of a bummer a lot of these older toys just get like one line and that's all you get for the new movie. Still though, to me, that's just kind of minor nitpicky stuff, and I don't think that's stuff that ruins the movie for you. To me, those will be the things that whether you really hone in on those negatives, then you just end up liking the movie, and if you can just let them go and take in the strong emotional story, I think you come out loving this one. So when it comes to Toy Story 5, I'm going to give action 3 stars. One of the things I always love is seeing how the toys get around, how they hitch a ride, how they have to get from point A to point B, and there is a lot of traveling within this small town, and that's a little fun. But probably the biggest scene is what happens with the Buzzes at the end of the movie. Commenting the film, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think the movie has the right amount of humor for the story it's telling. There was definitely some laugh out loud moments, particularly with Forky. He makes one comment about his newly bride knifey in this that had me howling. But the comedy's still strong in this. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I felt like they really nailed the commentary involved with technology versus toys, how it's affecting the life of kids today, what is most important, and also kind of what I love most, they didn't try really giving you a solution to what you should do. The conflict and issues in the movie get resolved, but it never felt like the movie was preaching at me, hey, Dad, Get that iPad away from your kid. Come on now. Also buy a high-tech Buzz Lightyear, please. And suspense in the movie, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. And to me, that's honestly very surprising for like a kid's Disney movie. Most of the time, you know where things are headed. You see where everything's going to lead. But the franchise has been proven its predictability, its maturity. I do worry about what toys are in peril or how the story could even end because of how bold they have taken things in other installments. in the end, when looking at the 3Cs, I feel like this is a movie that'll be enjoyed by all categories. If I had to give it a perfect spot, I'm going to go more cinephile. I think it hits those emotional beats, and it's a satisfying sequel for the fans coming back in. So when it came to Toy Story 5, I ended up loving it, and they nailed it to me. Even with its issues, to me, this gets the 3C guarantee. Again, I'm going to be very curious to see where I end up ranking this because I still don't know right now. But I could not be happier walking out of the 5th Toy Story movie and still feeling so in love with this franchise and like it's not headed towards a downward slope. I know some people have already started to feel that way. Not for me. I think they are doing great things with this, and whatever they plan for the next one, I hope it's just as good. But I toss it off to you guys. You let me know what you think about Toy Story 5 when you get around to watching it. Stay tuned for the spoiler review. Let me know your ranking down below before or after you've seen the movie. Anything and everything, be sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.